Hello. Well, before we start our project with number 400, I want to address you and say a few things. Well, first, my name is Peter Westerlund. I'm 65 years old, and I tell you this because I have never had any apprentices and I don't want any. I have a very free life. I can work whenever I want and take off whenever I want. So that freedom is very important for me, and to not take this knowledge or whatever with me in the grave. I want to show how I do it, and since I know that a lot of things are happening along the way, I will find out more things after I've done this series, but this is where I am right now. I didn't get any help when I started up. I tried to ask the Violinmakers professionals, but either they didn't know, which I think is closest to the truth, but they were very unwilling to help me. So I'm giving this to you. Then I like to do it as a good thing to happen. I think secrets, when people say why do you give all your secrets away? Now everyone can sort of do it, and you get out of business. I'm not that afraid of going out of business just because I tell you this. It's like Ann-Sophie Mutter gives you her violin, and you can still play Mozart concerto like she does. So it's about execution. It's how you do it. It's not, well, of course it's important to know what to do and how to do, but there is a lot to learn on top of that. Since it already happened after the first video, I have to say this. There are a lot of science buffs connected to violin making out there, and they want answers, they want theories, they want facts, they want like proof, and I am not the slightest interested in participating in this hunt for facts or proof or whatever. If this is right or wrong, I don't know, and I don't think anyone actually knows. But no one can for sure say this is how they did it in the old days. But this is my gift to you. It's like handing you a bouquet of flowers, and then the person that is given comes and asks, well, where did you pick them, and when were they picked, and what's this species in Latin, and so on and so on. I couldn't be less interested. If this was the old masters' way of doing it, then I don't think they were a bit interested in that either. And for sure they didn't have all these computers and marvelous machines we have today. Enough of that. I leave it. Then to the actual making. My way of making an instrument, violin, viola, cello, is I want the box to be like a unit. Everything has to connect. It's like one not living, but living thing in a way. Like when a signal is induced by the bow, string, bridge, go down in the box, the body of the instrument, everything has to react boom. Not like a very rigid top and a soft back. It doesn't match. Anyone can understand that, and the opposite. Also, if you have a top with one part very rigid and other parts very soft, and it takes sort of more energy to get the rigid part going, and the softer part doesn't really match with this rigid part. So I want everything to be of the same sensitiveness. So everything reacts at once. It just clicks everywhere. And I have a very good feeling that this method does just that. I think you will be very interested in seeing how to make, say, the arching. Very often the arching height is a mystery, and if a poster from Strad or another drawing says, well, Strad used this arching height, well, then you aim for that arching height and ask no questions. And then you make your arching, either by templates or by eye or whatever. So I have a method that could tell you the exact arching height to start with, and also how to form the archings out of that. Also, when you made the archings, you turn the plate, and there you find the problem of doing the correct graduations. And well, again, I mean, Sacconi, he had this chart of how many millimeters you should have in different parts. You can find hundreds and hundreds of these charts over different violins, how thick they are there and there and there. Some have made a very good instrument in the past, and they recorded where is it, how thick is it there, and how thick is it there, and you go with your thickness gauge and try to repeat that success. And very often it ends up in a disappointment. It didn't really work that way. So I have, excuse me, I have a method that works graduations without that. Well, you see the graduation thickness tool over there. I use it, but not for making the actual graduation. I use it just to check if I have to recheck some area, but I don't make my graduations with that one. Well, when the graduations are done, we come to the bass bar, and bass bars can look very strange. They, well, Strad, they were more like a long shot, like this. Today, most bass bars are curved this way. I don't know where that started, but it's a very common way to make bass bars today. And it should be this high, so far from the edge, and the edge should be 4 centimeters from the final edge. and it should be this high in the middle, and so on and so on. So the bass bar is put there like measure-wise. I don't do that way. I try to include bass bar into my box of the unit that I'm talking about. And I must say myself, I've been very successful with that. If we go on with one of the big mysteries of violin making, is the plug in the back of the Guarneri violins, and also Amatis, I guess. I'm not no historian here, but no one really knows why they put it there. I mean, it's a real what do you say? Well, it's a riddle, whatever. You probably have a better word for it. Gåta in Swedish. So how come they did it, and why there? And how come in Guarneri violins he used the same mold, more or less, by twisting the ribs a little bit? It can differ, but he used the same inner mold all the time. How come the plug is in different places? It couldn't be by putting an X from certain points or so. Also, what was it used for? I mean, some people think he drilled a hole, and when he reached the bench, then he knew that on top of that hole he had so and so many millimeters. And I don't advocate any of these theories. I think it was used in another way. Later. Also, a lot of makers, when they make their violins, they want to antique them. And me too. I like antiqued violins. I almost exclusively do antiquing. So antiquing a top, well, you want to have the reed lines, years coming forth. And I will show you my method of doing that. It's quite easy. Also, when you make like a Montagnana cello, they are very sort of in fashion right now. You want to have some craquelé in the varnish, and I will show you how I do my craquelé. So there are some things I will get back to. Well, I'm very excited to start this. So see you soon. Bye bye.